What's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Legge here, representing Team JVS. Back again for another final actual season 1 review for Lovecraft Country. This is episode 10, Full Circle, and to me, chagrin, without spoiling anything, they did something that I think that as a critic I have to give props, because I did not think they were going to do that, which leaves me thinking what is next, because each episode has been so anthological, like it's been like not connective tissue, and it's like now the way things are, it sets up something completely different in terms of a universe, and completely different as far as a world in general, with what they did, and well as like casualties. I'm just surprised. Like, I really am. I mean, it's a good surprise. Well, I think some people are going to be upset. Some people are going to be really upset with the decision they made. But I'm surprised they went for it. I really am. Like, and it seems like it is a clear-cut thing. So the biggest thing about this episode is that in the beginning of the episode, they're still trying to bring Dee back. You know, they brought the book back. I have my issues with Letty not running, just walking through the fire. Made no sense. Thankfully, in this episode, she did run, for good reason. Like, there's a scene. Okay, there's a scene that happens. It's a fight scene, and for all intents and purposes, the fight scene doesn't add up. It just seems really like campy. Like, I mean, I'm not knocking the choreograph. It just didn't make sense. Like, it really didn't make sense from the narrative standpoint. Like, I think that if I was one specific character that was in a fight, I feel like I would be very terrified and very worried and concerned, and that person just wasn't. That's without spoiling anything. That's a critique. That's a negative for me. But then, they had a really interesting conversation with like the ancestors that led up to a certain scene that was just weird and out there, and I don't know, like it. I'm not all for the witchcraft or incantations and stuff like that. It's just not my cup of tea. But I feel like, you know, the acting from, you know, Majors and from Smollett, like, I think that they did some really good acting in that earlier scene for sure. Specifically, Jonathan. There's a moment where he meets somebody he hadn't seen in years, and I was like, I felt every second of it, which was good. I really think they missed the opportunity where they could have brought somebody specifically back, but they just didn't. I don't know why. And then, like, in the middle of the second part, like, I really didn't know where things were going to really go. And I liked that. For the first time in the show, I was like, I really have no idea where they're going with it. But it ends up in a very compromising situation, where you having to listen to, believe, and perceive what's really going on. And there was one moment that didn't make sense in the third act, but if you look at the final few 10 minutes, it makes sense. And that's all. I'm just not saying a lot. I'm not spoiling a lot. This is not my spoiler review. Me and Lucas will go through more in depth in a spoiler review, so definitely go and check that out. But as far as the episode is concerned, I think it did good. Because they made a choice that I didn't think they were going to make. Now, I don't know if that makes up for the whole entire season. I'm not saying that. But their decision to do that, I have to commend them. I have to commend them for going and being that bold to do it. And it actually sets up stories, I should say, in a very interesting light. Yeah, there's one specific part that happens with another character too that they just came back into the fold since a few episodes back, and Yeah, there's a lot to spoil about this, so I'm gonna leave it as this. But I do think this is a pretty good finale. I think that there are some faults and there are some issues in terms of the way that they just push a whole bunch of stuff in. But this one, I didn't have as much issue with necessarily, and I think it was actually a pretty good finale, and it made a really good crucial decision that I don't know. I'm shocked that they did it. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll talk to you guys later on. Definitely gonna check out me and Lucas's spoiler filled review of Lovecraft Country, the final episode. And is this getting the second season? Peace, guys.